William S. Burroughs was born on February 5, 1914 in St. Louis, Missouri. The Burroughs family were known for the invention of the adding machine, which was created by Burroughs's grandfather in 1888. Burroughs studied English literature at Harvard University. He graduated in the year 1936. After graduating, Burroughs traveled to Europe and married a girl named Ilse Clapper. However, he only married Ilse to help her enter the United States. They later divorced after entering the States. Later in life, Burroughs traveled to New York where he met Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac in the 1940s. During this period, Burroughs and Kerouac worked on a novel together called "And the Hippos Were Boiled in Their Tanks," which was about a friend of theirs who was murdered. An excerpt of this was published in Word Virus, but not until after his death. Burroughs also met a woman named Joan Vollmer, who he married in 1945. Burroughs soon started using opiates and heroin. While living in Mexico City with his family in 1951, Burroughs decided to play a game of William Tell and accidentally shot Vollmer to death. He never served major jail time. Burroughs believed that shooting Joan Vollmer triggered his success and that it provoked his writing. In the introduction to his book, Queer, he states,
"I am forced to the appalling conclusion that I would never have become a writer but for Joan's death, and to a realization of the extent to which the event has motivated and formulated my writing. I live with the constant threat of possession, and a constant need to escape from possession, from control. So the death of Joan brought me in contact with the invader, the ugly spirit, and maneuvered me into a lifelong struggle, in which I have had no choice except to write my way out."
Before Vollmer died, Burroughs had actually finished his first two novels, one of which was Queer, although it was not published until 1985. Allen Ginsberg then urged Burroughs to write Junkie, which was published in 1953 under the pen name William Lee. Burroughs traveled to Tangier, Morocco in search of Yaage, which was of a drug that was said to grant telepathy. He stayed there for several months before he returned to the United States, where he faced social and financial problems. He then settled back in Tangier in November of 1954, where he could do as many drugs as he wanted and would still receive economic support from his parents. There, he spent the next 4 years writing what would later become Naked Lunch. Ginsberg and Kerouac ended up traveling to Tangier in 1957 and typed, edited, and arranged Burroughs' writing into Naked Lunch. Naked Lunch was Burroughs' first non-linear styled novel, given that he learned about Brian Gysin's cut-up technique at the Beat Hotel in Paris in 1959, and began to practice it. The cut-up technique was Burroughs' way of differentiating his writing from conventional, mainstream literature and media. It involved taking his work, cutting it up into unorganized sections and pasting them back together out of order to give it a unique effect. Excerpts of Naked Lunch were published in the United States in 1958 in Black Mountain Review and Chicago Review, thanks to Ginsberg. The novel was finally published in 1959 by Morris Gherodias and became popular in Europe and the United States after that. Naked Lunch ended up being prosecuted for being obscene by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. In 1966, Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court declared the work not obscene. This case was the last obscenity trial against a work of literature. Burroughs moved to a hotel in Paris in 1959 before Naked Lunch was published, when he decided that Tangier had become unhealthy for him. He also went to Paris to meet with Ginsberg, and talk to the Olympia Press. When the book was published, Burroughs used the $3,000 that he got in advance, which is about $24,271 today, to buy drugs. Yet, Naked Lunch still had success, and was featured in a 1959 Life magazine cover story. This highlighted the Beat literary movement. In 1966, Burroughs left for London to meet Dr. Dent, who was supposed to help with his heroin withdrawal by using apomorphine. Although he relapsed, he still worked out of London for 6 years, although he traveled back to the United States for several occasions. In 1974, Ginsberg got Burroughs a contract to teach creative writing at City College of New York, which helped him withdraw from heroin. He only lasted a semester as a professor, for he found his students uninteresting and untalented. He even turned down a teaching position at the University at Buffalo for $15,000 a semester. He then met James Grauerholz, who gave Burroughs the idea of reading tours. This supported Burroughs for the next 2 decades and helped him obtain new publishing contracts. Burroughs moved back to the United States permanently in 1976. After that he started associating with people like Andy Warhol, John Giorno, Lou Reed, Patti Smith, and Susan Sontag. By 1979, Burroughs was addicted to heroin once again, since his admirers liked giving it to him as a gift. From this point on, he was regularly addicted to heroin. He passed away in 1997 on a methadone maintenance program. William Burroughs was a major contributor to the Beat generation, and he helped inspire certain subcultures, such as beats, punks, and hippies. His writing was made significant by the fact that it called attention to homosexuality, drug addiction, and sex, none of which were discussed publicly during his time. Burroughs' writing opened a doorway into making taboo subjects more talked about within society. Nowadays, these topics are much more common, and many musicians, mostly rock and punk, also claim him as their source of inspiration. Even after death, his legacy continues to live on and inspire many.